The emergency beacon blazed across the Galactic Council's central display, its crimson pulse sending waves of alarm through the assembled delegates. Ambassador Zixthor of the Velkarian Empire leaned forward, his three eyes widening in disbelief as the tactical readout materialized before them. The Krathox Dominion has launched a full-scale assault on Sol 3, announced Council Director Miraseth, her voice trembling despite her centuries of diplomatic experience. They've deployed their 7th, 9th, and 12th battle fleets. Over 15,000 warships. A collective gasp rippled through the chamber. The Krathox Dominion was the most feared military power in the known galaxy. Conquerors of 17 star systems, destroyers of 4 civilizations. Their battle fleets had never known defeat. Sol 3? Whispered Ambassador Quellon, his translucent form flickering with confusion. You mean Earth? The Death World? Zixthor activated his personal display, pulling up Earth's classification file. The label Class 12 Death World glowed ominously. He'd read about Earth before. A planet so hostile that 98% of known species couldn't survive more than a few hours on its surface. Crushing gravity, volatile weather systems, aggressive microorganisms, and an atmosphere that corroded most starship hulls within weeks.
Why would the Krathox attack a Death World?
Asked Delegate Prin, her antennae twitching nervously.
There's nothing there but those…
What do they call themselves, humans? Intelligence reports indicate the Krathox Emperor believes humanity possesses strategic resources, Miraseth explained. But more importantly, he views them as an emerging threat. Human vessels have been spotted in 3 neighboring systems over the past solar cycle. With those primitive chemical rockets, Zixthor scoffed. They barely achieved faster-than-light travel 2 of their decades ago. They're no threat to anyone. The display shifted, showing real-time footage from monitoring satellites positioned at Sol 3's outer asteroid belt. The Krathox Armada emerged from hyperspace like a swarm of metallic locusts, their weapons already charging, their formation perfect and overwhelming. This is genocide, Miraseth said quietly. The Council must witness this and record it for the archives. We cannot intervene. The Krathox would view it as an act of war. But we must bear witness. The chamber fell silent as the Krathox fleet advanced toward the blue-green planet. Earth's primitive orbital stations were already evacuating, their desperate radio transmissions crackling across multiple frequencies. Humanity knew what was coming. They have no planetary shields, observed Quellon. No orbital defense platforms. I count maybe 300 human vessels against 15,000. Those poor creatures, Prin whispered. The Krathox fleet arranged itself in standard siege formation, preparing to rain destruction upon Earth's surface. Their protocol was well documented. Obliterate all orbital infrastructure, destroy major population centers, then deploy ground forces to claim whatever resources remained valuable. But then something unexpected happened. The human fleet didn't retreat. Instead, every single vessel accelerated directly toward the Krathox Armada. What are they doing? Zixthor leaned closer to his display. That's suicide. The human ships were crude by galactic standards, angular, ungainly things that still relied partially on fusion reactors and conventional thrusters. But they moved with a coordinated precision that seemed almost reckless, diving into the Krathox formation like projectiles. The first human vessel detonated. The explosion consumed 17 Krathox battle cruisers in a white-hot fireball that registered off the scale on the Council's sensors. By the ancients, Miraseth breathed. They're using their own ships as weapons. Another explosion. Then another. The human fleet had become a swarm of guided missiles, each ship piloted directly into clusters of Krathox vessels, each detonation carefully calculated for maximum effect. The Krathox formation dissolved into chaos as captains desperately tried to evade the kamikaze attacks. This is madness! Zixthor's voice cracked. Those are manned vessels. They're killing themselves. But the humans weren't finished. As the Krathox fleet scrambled to reorganize, Earth's surface lit up with thousands of launch signatures. Missiles, crude chemical rockets augmented with primitive nuclear warheads, screamed upward through the atmosphere. They weren't particularly fast or sophisticated, but there were so many of them that the Krathox point defense systems couldn't track them all. Explosions blossomed across the Krathox fleet like deadly flowers. Then Earth's moon moved. At least that's what it looked like. The lunar surface erupted with weapons fire, massive railguns that humanity had apparently been constructing in secret, buried beneath the regolith. Tungsten projectiles the size of buildings hurtled through space at relativistic speeds, punching through Krathok's shields and hulls like they were tissue paper. They militarized their moon, Quellon said, his voice filled with awe and horror. They turned their own satellite into a fortress. The Krathok's fleet, now reduced to less than half its original strength, attempted to retreat. But humanity wasn't allowing that. More human vessels emerged from behind Earth, from lunar orbit, from hidden positions throughout the system. These ships were different, sleeker, faster, clearly experimental designs. They harried the fleeing Krathok's vessels with weapons that seemed to ignore conventional shielding. Within 2 Earth hours, the mighty Krathok's 7th, 9th, and 12th battle fleets had been reduced to scattered debris and fleeing survivors. The Galactic Council chamber remained absolutely silent. Finally, Zixthor spoke, his voice hollow. They didn't just survive, they won. Against the Krathok's dominion. They actually won. Those humans, Prin said slowly, sacrificed hundreds of their own people without hesitation. They fought like every single one of them was willing to die to protect their world. Miraseth pulled up humanity's biological profile, reading it with new eyes. It says here that humans evolved as persistence hunters. They don't give up. Ever. And they evolved in constant competition with thousands of predator species on a planet trying to kill them every single day. We need to update Earth's classification, Zixthor said, his hands trembling as he input the changes. Not just as a death world, but as a civilization-level threat. Agreed, Miraseth nodded. And we need to send a diplomatic envoy immediately. Because the species that can defeat the Krathok's dominion while fighting from a gravity well is not a species anyone should consider making an enemy. On the display, Earth continued its rotation, serene and beautiful, seemingly unchanged by the battle that had just occurred in its orbit. But everyone in the council chamber understood the truth now. Humanity hadn't just defended their world, they'd sent a message to the entire galaxy. Earth was not to be touched, and the galaxy had received that message loud and clear.